Hey everybody, welcome back to Stoner Girl Otaku. It's your girl Lene here, and I'm back with another video. Obviously, it's a different video than any of my little mini series. I'm doing a review. I haven't did a review since like the beginning of my channel. I fell off from doing them because it was like really tough to stay consistent and be like work, be a mom, and YouTube and do all of that in the same like week, let alone in the same day. Like watch an episode, review it, film, edit, all of that. Like it was a lot. So I put it down, and now I feel a little more comfortable picking it back up. So here I am. So hopefully you guys are subscribed to the channel, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, welcome, and I hope you do subscribe by the end of this video. If you guys are not new to the channel, welcome back. Hi, I hope you're excited as I am. Hope you guys like this video, and I hope you guys are sharing it with your friends. Anyway, I'm here to review Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 0. Now, unlike my other review videos, this is actually on manga. Told you I was trying to work manga into the channel. Hope you guys caught my re-up video about my manga collection and my figure collection. If you haven't, check it out. But like I said, I was trying to bring manga to the channel, and that's how we got here. I read Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 0 like a couple months ago when I first got it. I got it after they announced the movie, which is coming soon. I'm super excited. I am like a huge fan of Jujutsu Kaisen. That was another one of the series when they announced it that it was going to be animated. I picked it up and had to read it because the timeline was going crazy for it on Twitter, and I was like, oh, I need parts. But we're talking about Jujutsu Kaisen. So I picked it up probably about the manga, but maybe like 2 years ago. It released, Jujutsu Kaisen released in 2018. However, Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 0 dropped in Shonen Jump in 2017 when it was first actually written. It's written by JJK I, which she obviously wrote. He or she. It's a pen name. We don't know who they are, but they wrote Volume 0, like I said, in 2017, and then a year later it actually got picked up, and they continued writing it in 2018. Obviously, Volume 0 is 0. It is a prequel to the events that are happening in the anime and manga right now. So, aka, this happened the year before Itadori became Sukuna's vessel. It centers around Yuta Okatsu, who is the amazing mystery first year, like second year that we hear about in the anime, who we haven't really ever seen animated. We've just seen a figure of them. This is actually about him. It's his origin story. Now, if you read the manga, you're familiar with Yuta, not just because you read Volume 0 and you're late like me, but also because of the events that happened in the manga. Before I even get there, let's just put this out here. If you do not want to be spoiled as far as the movie and like sprinkles of season 2 stuff, then you might not want to watch this video because I do get a little chatty. But I'm gonna try not to spoil it, but I'm bound to say something, just honestly giving background. So yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled, you probably don't want to watch this video. Sorry, I'm not gonna make a non-spoilery one because they're making a movie about it. So how do I review it without spoiling the movie? You can't. It is what it is. I read Volume 0 late, but either way, it's a great time to drop a review since the movie's coming out. So let's go ahead and get into the review. Now, Volume 0 is actually pretty difficult to get your hands on as far as a physical copy. I bought mine digitally. I mentioned it in my manga collection video. So I read it a couple months ago after I bought it on my iPad. I finally had gave up trying to actually buy the physical copy, and the digital copy isn't available on the Viz Media app. So like I said, that's usually my preference. So I bought it on my iPad and I read it there, and it's about 200 pages of it says 156 pages of like panel and actual content. I haven't seen the physical copy. However, the cover is really dope. But yeah, so it's only 4 chapters, 200 pages, and let's get into the first chapter. let's just get into some just basic information. As I told you before, it is about Yuta Okatsu, who is a special grade human, who is connected to a special grade curse, Rika. Yuta and Rika met as kids. They were like best friends or whatever, and on his birthday, Rika proposed to him, so they were engaged to be married. Sadly, a little while after that, Rika was killed. She was hit by a car and Yuta was right there, and then ever since that day, Rika turned into a curse, because as you know, in JJK world, curses are negative energy, like bad things happening. That's why they tend to be around like schools and hospitals and places of the sort like that. So on that day when Rika died, she became a cursed spirit and attached herself to Yuta. And because of that attachment, Yuta really hasn't been able to live his life like connected to anybody, because Rika was always there. She's like his protector. It's literally like his gift and literally his curse, because she doesn't like girls being around him. She doesn't like bullies, and because of his personality, he tends to get picked on, and he's definitely a loner because he has Rika attached to him. They are a special grade, and there's only been 4 special grades in the Jujutsu Kaisen universe. That is Gojo Sensei, obviously Yuta, Geto, and I'm not going to mention the 4th person because they're obviously going to be in season 2, and I don't want to spoil that for you guys, but if you read the manga, you know who I'm talking about from that flashback arc. So the first chapter is actually called The Cursed Child. Now the Cursed Child goes into how Yuta and Gojo and how he even came to Jujutsu High. It all started with an incident at a high school, at Uta's high school, where 4 dudes were picking on him, and then they were literally crammed into a locker by Rika. That caught the attention of the higher ups, and that of course made them decide that they have to kill Yuta. Yuta and Itadori are not similar in the sense of personalities at all, and actually they're like polar opposites of one another in a sense of personality, because Yuta is very quiet, very to himself, while Itadori is very loud, outspoken, and social. So right there. However, situationally, very similar, because neither one of them chose to be cursed. Well, in a sense, Itadori did, but he didn't realize what he was going to do. But so obviously, it's very reminiscent of what happened to Itadori. When the higher ups found out about Itadori and Sukuna, they obviously wanted him killed. When they found out about Rika and Yuta, they wanted Yuta killed. And of course, in Gojo Sensei fashion, he stepped in and was like, nah, I'm not gonna kill him, and bought them both, well not at the same time, but bought Yuta to Jujutsu High. Upon arriving to Jujutsu High, Yuta was at this point in his life, he was very tired of everything going on, because in a way he stays away from people so he protects them, like, so he doesn't really like hurting people. So he was really honestly like tired of this. He even had tried to kill himself and Rika wouldn't let him. So he's just mentally, it's wearing on him. He's very like, oof. So he's meeting all these new people, and it doesn't help that he's cursed, and it also doesn't help that they can see this curse. So when he walks into the classroom, all of them are like, yo, what is this? They sensed Rika, and it was kind of a funny moment, because Gojo Sensei was like, yo, you guys better back up, and then Rika pops out. So when he meets everybody, which is fun for me, I really thought it was really cute to see everybody in their first year, because you get to see Maki, Inamaki, and Panda as first years, and we never got to see that. So I was like so excited. They meet Yuta. Their first impression of Yuta really isn't like the best, because you know he's really timid and quiet to himself, and he has this big ass curse with him. But they go on a training mission at an elementary school, and of course Yuta is paired up with Maki, and you know how Maki is. She like at one point takes his school ID, and she's like, oh my god, you're a special grade, which is outrageous to her because he doesn't have any fighting experience, he's not good, and he doesn't even realize anything about curses, unlike her, who's very knowledgeable and stuck being a grade 4. Anyway, they see the curse, they run into him. Of course, Itadori doesn't know what he's doing, so Maki has to pick up the slack for both of them, which results in them getting eaten by a curse. Upon getting eaten by the curse, they actually find the kids, which is like, you know, gifted curse. They find the kids. However, Maki gets injured on the way down to like the stomach, so she can't really do much. So this is when she like goes in and she's like, yo, you have to do something, you have to figure it out. Like, you can't be a sorcerer if you don't know what you're gonna do. Like, you have to, at this point, you have to save us. That being said, Uta decides to call on Rika for help because that's his only resort, is Rika. So he calls Rika out, and that is like the first time Rika comes out, and the higher ups really don't like it. They don't really tell you exactly what happens, but Rika handles the curse, and everybody ends up in the hospital. In the hospital, Uta's feeling really down because he feels like this was really all his fault because he didn't know what he was doing. And I said this was Uta's find his resolve moment. You know, they always have those points in like anime where the main character finds their resolve and they make a whole declaration about how they're gonna be strong and save everybody and not be weak anymore. And that's essentially what Uta did. And in that moment too, Uta was just like, I feel so bad at this point, like I can't do anything. And then like I feel like I cursed Rika at this point because she's stuck having to save me too. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. So Gojo Sensei, of course, is a sweetheart, and he's like, yo, it's your first time, you got this, you're gonna be straight. Like, don't even worry about it, don't even trip on it. Like, you're gonna train, it's gonna be good. And that is where chapter 1 concludes, and it picks up with chapter 2, which is called Blacker and Blacker. And in chapter 2, it picks up with Uta training, and he's training with Maki and Inumaki and Panda, just regularly working out. But during that training time, Gojo Sensei is getting scolded by the higher ups, and you know, he's doing his usual like, I don't even care, like, you guys are whatever. He meets back up with the kids and he gives Uta his katana. Now, if you read the manga, you already know that this was like low-key big for me because I was like, oh, it's the katana. Oh. After receiving his katana, Gojo Sensei has Uta tag along with Inumaki on his mission. Now, at this point, Inumaki is allowed to go on missions, certain missions by himself, because he is a, I believe, grade 2 sorcerer, so he's fine to go by himself on missions. If you don't know, Inumaki, his power is he's cursed speech. So he can't talk like me and you, because if he says jump, you jump. If he says die, you're gonna die. So he only says the ingredients for rice cakes, and that's like a little language barrier. And since him and Uta just met, it's kind of like, how am I gonna go on a mission with him and I don't know what he's saying? I think personally that chapter 1 was like bonding, character development for Uta and Maki, and then this chapter 2, is really just about Uta and Inumaki and they're like bonding, and it's like more background in Inumaki because I had no idea he was like a grade 2 sorcerer like just the year before. Like, that's pretty lit. So they go on this mission to the shopping center, and everything's going smooth until a semi-grade curse pops out, and they're like, yo, what? That's not supposed to happen. So they end up like retreating for a little bit, and in that time, it's the same kind of instance as the first mission. Uta doesn't really know what he's doing. He's not really good at fighting, so he's kind of sort of getting in the way. And Inumaki even tells him like, nah, Salmon, you can go because you're not helping me right now. And Uta has that little moment where he's just like, no, I'm gonna help, I'm gonna fix this, like, we're gonna do this. So upon fighting the semi-grade, they end up teaming up and working together, and they get rid of the semi-grade. Now, up somewhere on the top, there's a panel where someone's looking down at them. and it's like, who is this? And then come to find out, they have Uta's school ID, which he had at the elementary school. Remember that. But guess who it is? It's freaking Geto. And I was hyped because I'm not gonna lie to you, I love Geto. He's like one of my favorite characters. He's building up to be one of my favorite villains. I don't care, I like him. And it's not because I took a test on Twitter and it said me and him was alike. But it's Geto, and he's looking down at them watching, and he's, you know, doing that, you know, stereotypical anime villain type thing. And swipe the page, ends up being a sweet moment again with Panda, just explaining to Uta a little more about Inumaki and who he is, and how you should just get to know him. Once you get to know him, you start to see he's like really dope. He's a cool dude, and you gotta imagine how difficult it is for him, knowing he can't talk to other people, but he constantly saves everybody. He pick up chapter 3, which is called Punishment for the Weak, at a Buddhist temple where Geto is actually hiding out and he's pretending to be a Buddhist priest. Now here's where we get spoily right here, because I have to explain this and give you some background. Geto used to be a student at Jujutsu High and he left. I'm gonna try to not be as spoilery as possible because it's probably gonna be in season 2. But he was obviously, if you don't know, he was mentioned in season 1 by the principal. We saw a glimpse. Well, you actually saw Geto in there, in case you didn't realize it. You saw Geto in there. He's the villain in the anime, or is he? But Geto left Jujutsu High on a bad note because he actually had a really bad experience. And that experience led him to dislike people that don't have sorcerer powers. And he really looks down on them, especially because sorcerers always have to constantly come in and save their lives, which he didn't agree with because which he didn't agree with because he's a sorcerer and he's putting his life on the line for people that can't protect themselves and don't even try to protect themselves or even have any knowledge of what's going on. So he ends up leaving Jujutsu High because of that. Anyway, he's hiding out at a Buddhist temple, pretending to be a priest. He's exercising curses off of people, which I know doesn't seem that bad when you say it. However, he's not just exercising them, he's actually collecting them. And also, the rich people he exercises the curses off of, he's extorting them. So, he's doing good stuff, but he's not. So, he's actually collecting these curses so that he could have a whole bunch. That's all I'm gonna say. After exercising the curse off, like this pervy curse at that, after exercising a curse off somebody, it transitions to Geto going to meet up with his gang, his little henchmen and everything like that. The twins are there. That's the whole point. He's going to meet up with them. He's telling them his next plan of action, which is to kill Uta and take Rika. Essentially, that's what he wants to do. So, to do that, he obviously has to go to Jujutsu High, which he does. So he pops up at Jujutsu High, he finds Uta, and he's like, yo, I would like you to join my cause. And Uta's like, no, I don't even know you like that. Simultaneously with that happening, Gojo Sensei and the principal pop up and they're like, Geto, what are you doing here? And like, this is not it. You know we don't rock with you like that. You know you left us a long time ago. Like, why is you even here right now? And Geto's like, oh, because I want Uta to join me in my cause. But he refused. So I'll put it to you like this. Join me or meet me in Shinjuku and fight me. I'm gonna unleash 1,000 curses in Shinjuku. Pull up if you want to, but that's what I'm gonna do. After he says that, he ends up dipping. And you turn the page and guess what day it is? It's the day to be in Shinjuku. So everybody of course is gathered in Shinjuku, ready to get it popping. Everyone is there except for who? Geto. And do you know why? Because it was all a freaking ruse. Geto pops up at Jujutsu High. Maki and Uta are the only one there. They of course have their little exchange. Geto's like, yo, join me, come with me, and he's like, no. Like, he's like, well, I don't want you anyway. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you and take Rika. Like, you're not gonna come with me. I'll just take you by force. Geto and Maki fight. Geto makes light work. Gojo Sensei sends Panda and Inumaki back to the school because he has a hunch that since Geto is not in Shinjuku, he's probably at the school. Goes to the school. Geto makes light work of Panda and freaking in Inumaki. At this point, seeing all of his classmates completely trashed, Uta's like, no, I'm not standing for it. We're not doing this today. That's dead. Like, I worked way too hard for this. And it stops at that chapter. Like, that's where the chapter ends. I'm so glad I didn't read it weekly, because that, well, yeah, weekly. I'm so glad like, oh my god, because that right there, that would have did it for me. It literally stopped in the midst of like a challenge, a midst of like Uta getting like turned up, which leads us into the last chapter, chapter 4, Bright Darkness. So like I said, it broke off at a really kind of like beginning awkward point. I say the third chapter ended with the beginning, like the literal beginning of the fight, and chapter 4 is like the whole rest of the book. So with his classmates trashed, Uta has to find a way to retreat. Geto is also a special grade, so you know he's not holding back nothing. At one point he literally throws like 1,000 curses at Uta, and Uta pulls out a loudspeaker, megaphone, which is actually Inumaki's family tool for curse speech. So all he said was like die, and all the curses that Geto threw at him were gone and killed. Uta finds a way to retreat with all his classmates. He gets away so he can regroup and just get everybody to safety. While he's doing all this, Rika tries to come out and kill Maki, and this is also when Uta's like stands up to Rika as well. He's like, no, like, you cut it out too. Like, they're the reason why I'm alive. They're my friends. We're gonna protect them. Like, get your shit together. Geto shows Uta his like ultimate power, which I believe is like something like a Uzumaki or something like that. And of course, Uta already knows he's like no match for Geto. So at this point, he decides he has no choice but to release Rika's 100% like limitless power. And with that, he puts on his engagement ring. And it's like, he tells Rika like, you know what, I'm ready, it's time. I'm putting my life on the line for this. It is what it is. And like, they kiss. And it's kind of weird. But then it's kind of not. But it's kind of weird. With that, they merge together. And the most shitty thing happens. We don't know how that fight went. Which is why I'm excited to see the movie, because I really want to know how this fight goes, because they didn't show it. Literally, the next panel is Geto all fucked up, nudging his way down the hallway, an alleyway, and Gojo Sensei pops up, and they have their little exchange conversation where they like, you know it's over with, right? Like, you know it's done. Any last words? And Geto's like, you know what, like, it is what it is, bro. Like, you gotta kill me, it's fine, you have to do this, it's whatever, but just know, like, you was always my nigga. Like, you was always my best friend, but I just couldn't stand for this no more. I couldn't take it no more. Which, I'm about to get into some spoilery stuff, because that was so important to me, because I just finished reading. Like, when I read this, I literally had just finished the flashback arc of when Geto leaves, and that was so sentimental to me for Gojo and Geto to have that conversation. Like, heavy stuff. Like, he was just like, it is what it is. It was real, like, I made my decision, I'm cool with it. My word is my bond, it is what it is. And that's why I like Geto, and that's why I have a little bit of respect for him. But in the midst of their conversation, Gojo finds out that Geto was behind this the whole entire time. It was always his plan to try to get Rika from Uta. Like, that was always his plan, and that's what he was trying to do. And you know what happens? Well, I don't know what happens. Like, it's our imagination, but Gojo Sensei finishes it. It is what it is. So back at Jujutsu High, like after this, was it there during the time Gojo's killing Geto or like after? Anyway, back at Jujutsu High, the gang is recuperating, and Uta is getting ready. Uta telling everybody like, alright y'all, like it's time for me to go. And they're like, yo, where are you going? He was like, oh, I promised Rika that once I saved you guys, I would go with her. And you turn and you see Rika, and she all of a sudden turns into who she was. She's no longer the curse no more. It's done. Like, oh. And Uta's like, what is going on? And Gojo Sensei pops up talking about, you know what? You know how you were in the hospital and you said you feel like you cursed Rika? I did some research, and come to find out, you did curse her. It was you. It wasn't even her. So, come to find out, Rika didn't curse Uta. Uta, seeing her dead, he couldn't live with the fact that she was gone. So that kept her here and turned her into a curse. And also, come to find out, Gojo Sensei was like, yeah, and by the way, do you know, like, we're cousins? Yeah. So, Uta is like a super special grade, like Gojo Sensei, because they are related. They are distant cousins. They are descendants of one of the vengeful 3 spirits. So upon learning all of that, Uta turns to Child Rika and he's like, yo, I'm so sorry I did that to you. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, oh, I can't believe I did that to you. And she's like, you know what? It's cool, because I got to spend all this time with you and I got to protect you. And it was really sweet. Like, honestly, the last couple panels are really sweet and endearing, and it just makes you feel good about where the story ended. It just makes you feel wonderful, really, because it's like Gojo and Geto made their peace, and then Uta and Rika made their peace, and upon making that peace, Rika was able to go to the afterlife, to go where she was ever gonna go, like wherever she was destined to go. And that was so sweet, because Uta had that whole weight lifted off his shoulder at that point, because he saved Rika and he saved his friends. And in a way, like, it kind of, the last panels ends with like they live happily ever after. Like, the best one of the best panels is when Gojo Sensei gives Uta back his ID, and Uta's like, oh my god, my school ID, where'd you find it? And he was like, my best friend had it. Like, oh, I'm fighting back tears right now, because that was so sweet. Like, it's so sad. Like, I don't say this, I don't like to make this comparison, but oh my god, is it not giving you Kakashi Sensei vibes? Is it not giving you Kakashi Sensei and Obito and Rin? Because that's what it's giving me. Is so sweet, because like, bad guy's dead, but the bad guy's your best friend. It's so, oh, it's so, like, I can't wait to see that animated, because with the background music, I'm gonna be in there crying. And that's how Volume 0 ends. Emotional and beautiful and amazing. And that was the end of Volume 0. Now, as I said before, this is going to be the movie. I'm excited and hoping that we get to actually see the Geto and Rika fight to the full extent. And I'm also hoping that maybe we get some more like flashback, background type stuff. But I'm really excited to see everything animated. Like, I'm super excited to see Uta and Rika animated. I'm so excited to see more Inumaki fighting, right? That's gonna be amazing. And of course, I get to see young Maki. Who doesn't love first year Maki? I love first year Maki. I love second year Maki. I love all Maki. Read the manga if you're not reading it, because Maki is the GOAT. That is all of volume 0. I literally just said the whole entire thing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review and you guys are waiting out for season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Hopefully you guys are excited to see the movie. Thank you guys for watching my video. I fought through it and got here because it took me like 2 tries to make this video. I messed up my makeup. I like had a hungry child, like but I did it. And hopefully you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hopefully this didn't make you run away and it makes you want to subscribe to the channel. Look out for my next re-up videos. I got another review coming soon. It's gonna be on Boruto. It's gonna be the reader's guide to watching Boruto. I think that's what I'm gonna call it. Anyway, next review is gonna be on Boruto. I had watched it, stopped watching it, and then rewatched it. So I'm gonna do a review on my little binge. So be on the lookout for that. Hope you guys looked at all my other videos. Check every other video out. And I'm tired. I'm finna go to bed. Bye.